Have you ever had the feeling where the thoughts in your head are like a faucet that won't turn off, dripping chaotically and refusing to stop? Today, let's discuss this very topic. We'll take a look at how our mind's internal operating system works, and how to find clarity and peace amid all that confusing noise. Doesn't that metaphor feel incredibly apt? That sensation truly feels as if we have a never-ending waterfall in our minds. All sorts of thoughts and notions rush down, making us feel exhausted, perhaps even overwhelmed. Well, that's the starting point of our journey today. So, for the first step, let's examine what this state of mental destruction is all about. Aren't you curious why our minds are always grasping at everything happening externally, as if they can't stay still for a moment? Imagine your attention constantly being pulled in all directions. Our six senses, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and our thoughts, the sixth sense, act like 24/7s, year-round super radars, continuously scanning and receiving signals. What is the result? Our minds become saturated with all kinds of psychological noise, making it incredibly difficult to truly focus on one thing. Okay, so how do we understand this slightly complex process? Here's a fantastic metaphor. We can think of our mind as a computer's operating system. Approaching it from this angle, the whole operational logic becomes much clearer. Well, since it's a computer, it must have hardware, right? Your senses, the six roots are the hardware, like the computer's camera and microphone. It's crucial to note that they are only responsible for receiving the most raw data. For example, sound waves entering the ears or light waves hitting the eyes. At this stage, the data itself actually has no meaning whatsoever. It is just a neutral physical phenomenon. Now, with the hardware in place, comes the software. Right, this software is our consciousness, or what is called the sixth consciousness. What is its job? Simple: to label this raw data, based on all our past experiences and learning. It quickly slaps on a label. For instance, a series of sound waves is instantly defined as, that's a plane, and it's loud. Folks, this difference is truly the key difference. On one side, you have the purely neutral physical reality, sound waves, light waves, which is neither good nor bad. But on the other side is the story created by our subjective consciousness after processing. Annoying airplane, comfortable feeling. Do you notice? It seems all our problems begin with these stories we add ourselves. But it's not that simple. This operating system is not perfect. You can imagine it came preloaded with some malware viruses in our minds. These viruses hide well, but they secretly throw the whole system into chaos. What are these viruses? We are actually very familiar with them. The so-called greed, hatred, arrogance, and doubt, and so on. They are like bugs in the operating system or preset automated scripts. As soon as a specific type of data enters, boom, it triggers, and your reaction is completely hijacked by it. Let's run through the complete process with the airplane example. Step 1. The hardware receives sound vibrations. Step 2. The operating system, the software, immediately defines it as airplane sound. Step 3. Crucial. The virus program called irritation is triggered. Step 4. Your mind starts creating a story. Oh, this sound is so annoying. I can't concentrate at all. This active process of grasping onto a mere sensation and starting to embellish it with stories has a technical term, conceptual proliferation, often translated as Vitakka. And it's not as simple as just inventing a small story. Our consciousness is a master screenwriter. It immediately rushes into your memory database and pulls out all related previous definitions, emotions, and biases, weaving them all together into a super complex, and often negative, long-running drama. Hearing this, you might feel, well, now, my operating system is completely infected. Do I have to scan for and delete every single virus? That sounds exhausting. Don't worry, there is a much smarter and more effective method. The key is not to fight the viruses, but to reallocate the CPU resources of your brain. The core concept of this method is concentrating the mind in a single spot, ekagut or sitakakati. What happens when you do this? Think about it. When you use all of a computer's processing power to run one massive program, don't all those other random programs running in the background stall? Yes, that's the principle. You are not killing the viruses, you are starving them of the resources they need to even start. Speaking of the power of concentration, you might wonder, is it really that powerful? How strong can it get? I'll tell you an ancient story that truly demonstrates this state to the extreme. The protagonist in the story is an ascetic practicing water contemplation. The story goes like this. Initially, the ascetic used all his mental power to observe the water within his own body. He focused only on this, ignoring everything else. As his concentration became higher and purer, all other thoughts and sensations vanished. Then, the most miraculous step occurred. His consciousness completely merged with the concept of water. As a result, his body, when viewed from the outside, genuinely began to manifest the appearance of water. Finally, one of his disciples, confused by the sight of water filling the room, curiously threw a brick into it. And what do you think happened? The meditating ascetic felt an intense pain. This story is truly shocking, isn't it? It tells us, where your mind is, that is where your world is. So, what is the final outcome of persistently doing this practice? What you gain is absolutely not just a temporary, brief calm. It brings about a fundamental upgrade of your entire mental operating system. Yes, you heard that right, an upgrade. This is not a psychological placebo. It's about genuinely upgrading your old system, the one full of bugs, frequent crashes, and a bunch of viruses, to a new system that is super clean, hyper, responsive, and highly efficient. This process is called transforming consciousness into wisdom, turning chaotic knowledge into clear wisdom. Look at this diagram, it illustrates the difference very clearly. On one side is our default factory mode, the distracted, virus-ridden one which constantly creates problems for ourselves and others. On the other side is the upgraded wisdom mode, the focused, clear one which is capable of bringing true benefit to ourselves and others. See, it's the same mind, but the result is worlds apart depending on which mode you choose to operate in. So, what is the most important takeaway for us today? It is this statement: true change is never achieved by forcefully resisting or fighting, but by gently yet firmly pulling your attention back to where you want it to be, over and over again. Your attention is nourishment. Where you water, things will grow. So, are you watering your wisdom every day? Or are you feeding those viruses and afflictions? Finally, this last question is for each of us, since we now know that we possess the powerful ability to determine our inner reality through focus. What kind of reality will you choose to create for yourself starting now?